Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Miranda and I talk about books and sometimes other hobbies like Legos and coloring, and I love like those sticker by number books. So if you're interested in that, come join us. I try to post weekly. Sometimes life gets in the way, but I do my best. Okay, so for Native American Heritage Month, I wanted to share some of my favorite Indigenous authors and books. This is by no means a complete list and not really in that much order, but I will start with the children's books. So I have a 9-year-old daughter, and she loves the JoJo Makoons books. And this is about JoJo, and she is on the Ojibwe reservation. So, what I love is that you really get to learn about her culture and also her as a little girl learning about life. And she is just like a big character. It's just cute, it's fun, it's a good time to read with my kiddo, and we can kind of talk about JoJo. um and so I think there's like 5 books, 4 or 5 books out at this point. We have them all. We just haven't read the last book. But yeah, if you are interested, you should pick up JoJo Makoons by Don Quigley. The first one being Fancy Pants. The next one's called The Powwow Thief. Oh, whoopsies. So we have 2 kids who are going to a powwow, and their necklace, they cannot find it, and so they're searching. They're doing a little investigation, and they're just like, and they are just trying to figure out what happened to this necklace, and the culprit may surprise you. It's a lot of fun. Find My Dance. This is actually a true story about a native dancer. She's a ballerina, and she just talks about her life as a dancer. Not sure if you can see it. There you go. Not only as a native dancer, but also her path to becoming a ballerina, and kind of how those worlds collide, or they celebrate each other. So yes, this is Finding My Dance by Rhea Thundercloud. Probably many people have seen this book running around. This is Fry Bread. And again, I love the pictures. They're gorgeous. I love the sense of family and community that is shown throughout each picture. But the final children's book that I'm going to share, and maybe you've seen this around as well, is We Are Water Protectors. So it really takes this idea of oil that is contaminating the water, and it's turns oil into a monster. And it's a great story to read to students, to children, and have some deeper conversations that they can digest. And the pictures, oh my God, like it's so pretty. Okay, moving on to the adult books. I have 2 romance novels. The first is a story written by an indie author, and it's called Heartbeat Braves. So in this book, our main character is trying to get a native center in the city for inner city native students. And she is coming up against some challenges. And the person who she has to work with is the nephew of the center's owner. And he doesn't care about the native center. And so she has to, like, you know, get him to care so that he can buy into this idea and really be there to create this special place for Indigenous youth. And you can imagine, like, the love, the romance that grows from this is really cute. I enjoyed this story. Another author is Danica Nava, and this is her most recent love story. Love is a War Song, and it's a cowboy pop star romance. It's a lot of fun and pretty funny, actually. I have also talked about this one in a couple of videos, so I'm not going to talk about it that much. But Michelle Porter wrote Grandmother Begins the Story, and you get to see the how mothers throughout generations, it really shows their love for their children and also their imperfections. And sometimes as mothers, we really mean to do the best thing, but we are imperfect people, and it doesn't always work out the way we hoped. But I love this story so much. The next author is pretty popular, Stephen Graham Jones. He wrote the My Heart is a Chainsaw, and that is pretty popular. You probably have heard this story. So this is about a teenage girl who is obsessed with horror movies, and she really uses horror movies to kind of escape from the horrors of her own life. And then there's also some spiritual, ghostly elements that go along with this story, and it's woven so perfectly. If you haven't read it, or if you're like, oh, I think I want to pick that up, I would do it sooner rather than later, because it is a great story and the trilogy is completed. And then the first book I ever read from Stephen Graham Jones was actually a novella called The Night of the Living Mannequins. And this is about a few teenagers who are about to graduate high school and go their separate ways when all of a sudden they start getting murdered. I can't talk to you about it. I don't want to say too much because it is a novella, so therefore the story is very short. I would just say that if you like a good gory story, but that is also heartfelt, you might want to pick this one up. And then Sherman Alexie, this is my favorite book from him, and I've read a couple, but Flight had me in tears. And this is about a teenage boy who he has been passed through foster home after foster home and had so many bad experiences, and gets into some trouble that will potentially either he will end up either dead or in jail. And as something bad happens, he actually gets to experience the histories of his ancestors, and it really helps him kind of find himself and his identity and who he wants to be. This is so good. So I really think everybody should read this book. Darcy Little Badger is another one who does such a good job of weaving fantastical elements and storytelling elements, and I mean that in terms of like folklore, mythology, the stories passed down. She does such a great job of weaving them into a digestible story anybody can read. Um, this story is about Nina, and Nina feels like she's not really a part of this world fully. Um, and you know what? She could be right, because as a snake, Ali has appeared, fallen into this world from a different realm after he was cast out. She has to help him save his friend who has fallen ill. And by this all happening, the stories, the old stories, and our world are starting to intertwine. And then there's a group that really doesn't want that to happen. So you get to see them go on this journey to save this friend from sickness, and also save themselves against this entity that doesn't want the stories to join with this new world. Alapsaway has vampires and other magic and monsters in this story, and it's also our main character. She can actually bring the dead back, so that's pretty cool. Louise Erdrich is another author who is well known and loved in the book community. I first read her, my first book was Tracks. I took a class in college, and it was Louise Erdrich and Toni Morrison. It was a very powerful class. But really, this is about the kind of ending of the old native ways as tribes are being kind of squished into a smaller area, and they are starting to be forced to interact and um, learn how to survive in a different type of community. So it really shows how culture, history, customs can have to change, and how the people really struggle with that change. I love this book. So I think I talk about Rebecca Roanhorse in maybe every single video I have, but I do. I really love her. You may have seen Black Sun. Is very, very popular. This is pre-colonization story, and an epic high fantasy. It's so good. So if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't read it and you like very rich fantasy and like political intrigue, all of that, this is such a good book. But I'm sure you already know that. Maybe you don't know her first book, Trail of Lightning, which is a post-apocalyptic book, and our main character is a monster hunter. After the apocalypse, all the old monsters started coming back. I loved reading this story and watching our main character really learn how to get along with other people who are still alive in this world, and kind of navigate her own path now that her mentor has gone. If you haven't read this, there's this book and another book, and I am really excited. I just found out that Rebecca Roanhorse is going to do a novella, but it's going to follow a different character. It's going to follow Kai, and I'm okay with that, but I do wish that we could like come back to this story a little bit, because it doesn't feel done. Another book, I don't know if maybe you all know about this story, Race to the Sun, is about a brother and a sister, and they are monster hunters, and they have to go and help save the world from this monster takeover. And this is so good. And I never hear anybody talk about it. And I wish that more people would read it and have their children read it, because it was a lot of fun.
Warrior Girl Unearthed was written by Angeline Boulley, and this is about a girl who is a senior in high school, or she's about to be a senior in high school, and takes on an internship where she really learns about the politics of museums and colleges that do research on historical artifacts, and how sometimes they don't follow the rules and they keep the artifacts that are supposed to go to the tribe and kind of find ways around not giving it back. So she actually discovers an ancestor from her tribe and does what she needs to do to try to get her back and claim her, so that way they can do the proper ceremonies that she deserves. Sisters of the Lost Nation is about Anna Horn, and she is terrified of the demons that plague the reservation, where many girls go missing, and she's constantly looking over her shoulder. When her sister actually goes missing, she has to go and find her. So this, I love Nick Medina's writing. He usually has some sort of supernatural twist in his stories, and I really like it. There's always also some action and mystery going on. Ramona Emerson, I've also talked about this one in several videos, but this one is Exposure, and our main character can see ghosts, and she's able to use this ability to help kind of solve the murders and put the spirits to rest. And this is actually really exhausting to her. But I don't know how much I can tell you without giving this away. Okay. I will just tell you that in this story, she finds out that the people who are supposed to be out there to serve and protect might not be the best ones to actually do the job. So this is really good. I think I've said it. I love a good supernatural story, and the fact that she is she takes photos at crime scenes. That's pretty cool. It was a forensic photographer. Yes, that's it. And finally, The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This one is a hit or miss for several people, but I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Okay, so this is about a group of writers or aspiring writers, and they go to this mansion, and they are tasked with a challenge to finish an entire novel while they're staying here. And our main character is kind of starstruck by this famous author who is actually hosting this event. But there's some weird things that are happening. She's not sure if she can trust this lady or the other people, and it is a competition. So there's also that element of you can't trust them because they want you to fail. It is interesting. It is a little bit crazy. You don't expect the things that are going to happen. And if you're somebody who's like, okay, I'm along for the ride, here I go, this is really, really good. So yeah, that is my list of some Indigenous authors and stories that I truly, truly love. If you watch some of my videos, you will see these stories and those authors pop up several times because I truly truly love the way they tell their tales. And I suggest, if you haven't read some of these, pick them up. Are there Indigenous authors that you love? Please list them below. And if I've read from them, I would love to have that conversation with you. But that is all I have right now. I will see you in another video, and hopefully next week. Thanks. Bye.